Ethan's phone buzzes in the Chicago rain, Caleb's name glowing on the screen. Heart racing, he deletes the message, fear gripping him. One wrong move could expose his secret. He's gay, a truth he's hidden from everyone. At work, Caleb's warm glance during a late project sparks something dangerous yet thrilling. Ethan wants to lean in, but the weight of his family's judgment holds him back. Can he risk it all for a chance at something real? Ethan, 28, hurries through the drizzle to his apartment, the city's hum a distant pulse. He's a graphic designer at a fast-paced Chicago ad agency, crafting bold campaigns by day, but living quietly, always guarding his truth. His conservative family, especially his brother Liam, would never understand. Ethan's learned to keep his head down, to blend in, to avoid questions. But Caleb's arrival at the agency changes everything. Caleb, 30, a new copywriter, brings an energy that disrupts Ethan's careful routine. During a late-night project crunch, they're paired to finalize a pitch. Papers scatter across the desk as they brainstorm. Caleb's ideas sharp and quick. His hand brushes Ethan's while passing a sketch, lingering just long enough to make Ethan's pulse spike. "Nice work," Caleb says, his voice low, eyes locking on Ethan's. It's not just praise. It's a pull, a challenge. Ethan looks away, pretending to focus, but his fingers tremble on the keyboard. The next day, Caleb finds him at the coffee machine. "Rough night?" he asks, handing Ethan a cup before he can reach for one. The gesture is small but deliberate, and Ethan feels heat creep up his neck. "Just deadlines," he mumbles, avoiding Caleb's gaze. But Caleb doesn't push, just nods and moves on, leaving Ethan rattled. He's not used to this. Someone noticing him, someone seeing through the walls he's built. Over the next week, their interactions grow. Caleb stops by Ethan's desk with questions about fonts or layouts, his tone casual, but his presence electric. Ethan catches himself waiting for these moments, craving the brief exchanges. During a team meeting, Caleb defends one of Ethan's designs against a harsh critique, his voice steady. "It's bold. It works," he says, glancing at Ethan with a half-smile. The room moves on, but Ethan's stuck on that look, his chest tight with something he can't name. The tension builds at a client presentation. They're alone in the prep room, tweaking slides. Caleb leans close, pointing at the screen, his arm brushing Ethan's. "You're good at this," he says, quieter now, his breath warm. Ethan freezes, caught between wanting to close the distance and the fear screaming in his head. Liam's voice, his parents' disappointment, the risk of being seen. He steps back, muttering about needing air, and flees to the hallway, heart pounding. That night, Ethan lies awake, replaying Caleb's touch, his words. He's never let anyone this close, never dared to. His phone sits silent. No new messages, but Caleb's name lingers in his mind. He thinks of Liam's last visit, his brother's cold warning about living right. Ethan spent years hiding, but Caleb's presence cracks something open. What if he's tired of running? What if he wants more? The next morning, Caleb finds him in the break room. "You okay?" he asks, voice soft but direct. Ethan nods, but his hands betray him, fidgeting with his cup. Caleb steps closer, lowering his voice. "If I'm pushing too hard, tell me." There's no judgment, just honesty, and it hits Ethan like a wave. He wants to speak, to say something real, but fear chokes him. "I'm fine," he lies, hating himself for it. As Caleb walks away, Ethan's left with a sinking feeling. He's at a crossroads. Stay safe, stay hidden, or risk everything for a connection he can't ignore. The agency hums around him, oblivious, but inside, a storm is brewing. Caleb's not just a co-worker anymore. He's a spark, and Ethan's terrified of what it might ignite. Caleb's invitation catches Ethan off guard. "Grab a drink after work?" he asks, leaning against Ethan's desk, his voice casual but eyes expectant. Ethan hesitates, his mind flashing to Liam's warnings, the risk of being seen. But Caleb's steady gaze pulls him in, and against his better judgment, he nods. "Sure," he says, voice barely steady. The decision feels like stepping off a cliff. At a quiet dive bar near the Chicago lakefront, the hum of chatter and clinking glasses eases Ethan's nerves. Caleb picks a corner table, away from prying eyes. Over beers, Caleb shares pieces of his life. Growing up in a small town, coming out at 20, the fights with his parents that followed. It was rough, he admits, fingers tracing the bottle's rim. But living honestly, worth it. His words hit Ethan hard, stirring a longing he's buried for years. Ethan sips his drink, unsure how to respond. "What about you?" Caleb asks, leaning forward. "What's your story?" Ethan's throat tightens. He's never told anyone about the nights spent lying to his family, pretending to be someone he's not. "It's complicated," he manages, eyes on the table. Caleb doesn't push, just waits, and that patience undoes something in Ethan. "My brother, he'd never accept me," he confesses, voice low. "My whole family, really." Caleb nods, his silence an invitation. Ethan's heart races. He's never said this out loud. "I'm gay," he whispers, the words foreign yet freeing. Caleb's hand brushes his under the table, a quiet anchor. "I'm glad you told me," he says softly. The moment shifts when Caleb leans closer, his intention clear. Ethan's pulse spikes, torn between desire and panic. He pulls back, shaking his head. "I can't," he says, voice cracking. Liam's voice echoes. Sin, shame, failure. Caleb's face softens, no trace of anger. "I'll wait," he says, and the promise lingers like a lifeline. Days later, Ethan can't shake Caleb's words. At work, their glances carry new weight. During a lunch break by the lakefront, Ethan finds Caleb alone, watching the waves. "Hey," Ethan says, heart pounding. Caleb turns, his expression open but cautious. Ethan steps closer, the air between them charged. Without words, he leans in, and their lips meet. A tentative, electric kiss that drowns out the world. For a moment, fear fades, and all Ethan feels is Caleb's warmth, the possibility of something real. But reality creeps back. As they pull apart, Ethan's phone buzzes, Liam's name on the screen. "Everything okay?" Caleb asks, noticing Ethan's tension. Ethan nods, but dread settles in. He's crossed a line, and there's no going back. That night, alone in his apartment, Ethan stares at Liam's unanswered text. "We need to talk." The spark with Caleb feels like freedom, but the weight of his secret threatens to pull him under. He's playing with fire, and the flames are closing in. Ethan's heart sinks as whispers ripple through the agency. Heads turn, eyes dart his way. Mark, a co-worker with a grudge, caught sight of him and Caleb at the bar. By noon, the rumors spread like wildfire. Ethan's inbox pings with an anonymous message. "Weirdo." His stomach churns. He thought he could keep this hidden, but Chicago's not big enough to hide his truth anymore. Caleb notices his unease during a project huddle. "What's wrong?" he asks, voice low. Ethan shakes his head, unable to speak. The weight of exposure presses down. At home, Ethan's phone lights up with Liam's call. "Is it true?" his brother demands, voice sharp. "You're like that?" Ethan's silence confirms it. Liam's tone hardens. "You're throwing your life away. Don't expect me to stick around for this." The line goes dead, leaving Ethan staring at the screen, chest tight. He spent years dodging this moment, but now it's here, raw and unavoidable. Liam's words cut deeper than the rumors, slicing through the fragile hope Caleb sparked. The next day, Mark's smirks follow Ethan through the office. Another message hits his inbox. "You don't belong here." Ethan's hands shake as he deletes it, but the words linger. Caleb pulls him aside during a break. "We can fight this," he says, eyes fierce. "You don't have to hide." But Ethan's fear drowns out the encouragement. Liam's rejection echoes, blending with the taunts. "I can't do this," Ethan snaps, voice breaking. "This was a mistake." Caleb's face falls, hurt flashing in his eyes. "You don't mean that," he says. But Ethan turns away, the distance between them growing. Alone at his desk, Ethan buries himself in work, but the rumors don't stop. A coworker avoids his gaze, another whispers as he passes. He feels exposed, like every glance knows his secret. His phone stays silent. No more calls from Liam, no texts from Caleb. The kiss by the lakefront feels like a dream, slipping through his fingers. Ethan's always run from this part of himself, but now there's nowhere to hide. He pushed Caleb away to protect himself, but the loneliness is worse than the fear. That night, Ethan walks the Chicago streets. The city's hum a hollow comfort. He replays Caleb's hurt expression, Liam's cold words. He wanted to be enough for both, his family, his love. But he's losing them all. The agency's gossip, Liam's judgment, his own shame, they're closing in, and Ethan's not sure he's strong enough to push back. Caleb's voice haunts him. "We can fight this." But what if he's already lost? The betrayal isn't just Mark's rumors or Liam's rejection. It's Ethan betraying himself, and the cost is tearing him apart. Ethan's world feels like it's crumbling. The agency's whispers follow him, each glance a reminder of Mark's rumors. Another anonymous message pings his inbox. "Outsider." His hands tremble as he deletes it, but the sting lingers. Liam's silence is louder than ever. No calls, no texts, just the echo of his brother's rejection. Ethan sits alone in his Chicago apartment, staring at the phone, wondering how he let it all slip so far. Pushing Caleb away was supposed to protect him, but it's only left him more exposed. At work, Ethan keeps his head down, avoiding Caleb's desk. The spark they shared feels like a distant memory, buried under fear and shame. Caleb tries to catch his eye during a meeting, but Ethan looks away, his chest tight. He's not sure if it's guilt or cowardice holding him back. The rumors persist. Mark's smug comments, co-workers' sidelong glances. Ethan's always hidden who he is, but now the mask is slipping, and he doesn't know how to fight back. A chance encounter changes everything. At a coffee shop near the agency, Ethan runs into Sam, a college friend he hasn't seen in years. Sam's openly queer now, his confidence a stark contrast to Ethan's turmoil. Over coffee, Sam shares his own story, family rejection, years of hiding, and finally freedom. "I was terrified," Sam says, stirring his drink. "But pretending to be someone else was killing me. You're enough, Ethan, just as you are." The words hit like a jolt, stirring something Ethan's kept buried. For the first time, he sees a path beyond fear. That night, Ethan lies awake, Sam's words looping in his mind. He thinks of Caleb, the kiss by the lakefront, the hurt in his eyes when Ethan pulled away. He's been running from himself, but the loneliness is heavier than the risk of being seen. The next day, he tracks Caleb down at a park near the agency. Caleb's sitting on a bench, staring at the skyline, his posture guarded. "I messed up," Ethan says, voice raw. "I pushed you away because I was scared." Caleb's eyes meet his, wary but listening. "I can't keep chasing someone who runs," Caleb says, his tone sharp with hurt. Ethan nods, swallowing hard. "I know. I'm trying to stop." Caleb doesn't respond, and the silence cuts deep. Ethan leaves, his resolve hardening. He's tired of hiding, tired of letting fear win. Back at the agency, another message arrives. "You don't fit here." Instead of deleting it, Ethan stares at the words, anger rising. Sam's voice echoes, "You're enough." He's done letting others define him. But Caleb's hesitation lingers, a reminder that trust, once broken, isn't easily rebuilt. Ethan knows he has to fight for himself first, or he'll lose Caleb for good. Ethan's heart pounds as he stands in the agency's meeting room, the team's eyes on him. The rumors, the whispers, Mark's smirks, they've pushed him to the edge. He takes a breath, steadying himself. "I'm gay," he says, voice clear, "and I'm done hiding." The room falls silent. Some nod, others shift uncomfortably, but Mark's smirk fades. "Your hate doesn't define me," Ethan adds, locking eyes with him. The team leader steps in, addressing Mark. "This stops now." Ethan feels a weight lift, the truth setting him free. Later, in the break room, a co-worker approaches. "That took guts," she says, offering a small smile. Others follow, their support quiet but real. Mark's influence wanes, his taunts ignored. Ethan's inbox stays clear of hate. The agency isn't perfect, but it's a start. Still, Caleb's absence gnaws at him. Ethan knows he needs to make things right, not just at work, but with the person who sparked this change. He finds Caleb at the lakefront, where their kiss first ignited hope. Caleb's sitting on a bench, staring at the water, his expression guarded. Ethan sits beside him, heart racing. "I'm all in," he says, voice raw. "I was scared, but I'm not running anymore." Caleb studies him, his eyes searching. "You hurt me," he says quietly. "I needed you to fight for us." Ethan nods, guilt heavy. "I know. I'm fighting now. For me. For you." Caleb's silence stretches, but then he reaches for Ethan's hand, his grip tentative. "Then we do this together." Months later, Ethan and Caleb share a small Chicago apartment, their lives intertwining. They cook dinners, laugh over late-night talks, and navigate the everyday with an ease Ethan never thought possible. Liam remains distant, his silence a lingering ache, but Ethan finds peace in his choice. Sam, his old friend, visits often. His stories of resilience, a reminder of how far Ethan's come. At work, Ethan's open about who he is, and the agency adapts, the whispers long gone. One evening, by the lakefront again, Caleb pulls Ethan close. "You're braver than you know," he says, his voice soft. Ethan smiles, the city's glow around them. "I had a good reason," he replies, leaning into Caleb's warmth. The fear that once held him back is a shadow now, outshone by the life they're building. Ethan knows challenges may come, Liam's rejection, society's judgment. But together, they're unstoppable. He's not just surviving anymore. He's living, fully and unapologetically, himself. If this story touched you, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell. More stories are coming that will move you, inspire you, and challenge the way you see your own journey. Every story matters, and each one brings us closer to who we are meant to become.